Welcome back to UK Knowledge Guru. In this video, I will first explain you what is UK student visa. Then I will show you how to fill application for student visa online without any solicitor or agent. Then we will discuss how to make sure that universities you are applying are genuine and they have a sponsor license to issue you the CAST letter. As many scams are happening currently, so you need to make sure that this university which you have applied is genuine. Then in the end, we will discuss visa fees, requirements and documents you need. So without wasting time, let's start. So what is UK student visa? You can apply for a student visa to study in the UK. If you are 16 or over, you have been offered a place on a course by a licensed student sponsor. In a minute, we will discuss this part. You have enough money to support yourself and pay for your course. You can speak, read, write and understand English. You have a consent from your parents if you are under 16 or 17. If you are 16 or 17 and you want to study at an independent school in the UK, you may be eligible for child student visa. Now let's discuss how to apply online. So you will apply on gov.uk website. Step 1, in search, write student visa, search, click student visa. You will go over here. The link is www.gov.uk/student-visa. Go down, look for apply online. Click on that, apply online. You must apply online for student visa. Check which documents you need. We will discuss this in detail further. Over here, apply outside the UK. Start now. It will take you to the page where it will ask you, are you planning to live in England? It's basically for the student visa where you wanted to study. You can also apply in Isle of Man University, but it's a separate way to do that. Click continue. Do you have a current EU passport? No. Which country you are doing your biometrics? So over here, for example, we'll select India. Next, I have identified the location where I will do my biometric. So I'm doing my biometric. Biometric means fingerprints and scanning for your face and all that. So India, I know the location. Student visa, before you apply, eligibility, how to apply, fees, which we will discuss in this video further. Click apply now. You will register an email. So you will put your email address over here and you will create a password. The password will go to your email. Next step is application, then documents, declaration, pay, further action. Next step is, do you have another email? No. Your telephone number, provide your telephone number, use for UK, use outside the UK, home telephone number, business telephone number, mobile number. So we'll select all of them and we'll enter the mobile number. And that's it. Save and continue. And any other telephone number? Do you have any other telephone number? No. Save and continue. Contacting you by telephone. Are you able to contact it by telephone? Are you able to contact by text message? I cannot be contacted. We'll select all of them. Text message and phone number. Okay, scholarships. Do you have a Fulbright, Marshall, Chevening or Commonwealth scholarship? So for this one, we will select no because we don't have any scholarship. So we'll select save and continue. So your confirmation of acceptance for studies. So that's your CAST number. So if you have a CAST number, you will enter over here. Just now we don't have a CAST number. So we'll select no. It do say the application requires a valid CAST number. If you do not provide one, your application will be refused. So you need to provide one before you submit your application. Just now we're not putting that in. We don't want to disclose. So save and continue. Your name. So you enter the name of the applicant who is going in. I'll zoom out a little bit. So yep, now I can see. So Sarah Khan, and then save and continue. Any other names? Do you have any previous name, any additional name? So you want to provide. So we'll select no in this. Save and continue. Your sex and relationship status. So just now it's a female we're doing the application for. So status is single. So we'll select single. Save and continue. Your address. So that's the address of the applicant who's applying. So we'll put that in. She's applying from Mumbai. So that's Mumbai Street, Mumbai. Postcode. We don't have any postcode for Mumbai. Country, India. Use this address for correspondence. That's where the letters will come. So the best is always use the same address. So just to avoid confusion if they want to send any documents back or anything. About this property, how long you staying on this property for? So we'll select 10 years over here. So 20 years is much better, I think. I own it, rent, other. So it's mom and dad property. So parents owns the property. Parents own it. That's simple. Okay, your passport. So you need to mention the passport number, issuing authority, issuing date, and expiry date. So I'll put that all in, save and continue. Your identity card. So you need to mention your identity card, Aadhaar card if you are from India, or you can select no if you don't have any at the moment. Your nationality, country, your country. So which country you born, where you so we'll put India over here. Country of birth, India. Place of birth, Mumbai, as showing on the passport. Okay. So date of birth, 2/1990. Save and continue. Other nationalities. Do you have any other nationalities? No. Have you provided evidence of English ability in previous application? So obviously you have to provide. You must have granted a visa permission to stay after meeting the language requirement, like IELTS or whatever it says mentioned on your cast. So we will provide the IELTS letter. Spoken language, that's fine. People financial dependent. So does anyone rely on your financial? No. Save and continue. Give details of your mother and father. So we'll select mother first. We'll put her name. You must, it's mandatory. So Anam Khan over here. Date of birth 01031960. Okay. Yeah. Country of nationality, India. Have they always lived same nationality? Yes. Now we'll do for the father. So father, you put the father name, Asif Khan. Okay. Date of birth 05051956, India. Okay, that's the nationality, country of nationality. Drop down menu. Have they always have the same nationality? Yes. Family who live in UK? Do you have any family living in the UK at the moment? No. Like for example, your civil partners, or anyone traveling as part of an organized group? No. Are you traveling with the organized group at the moment? The answer for this one is no. Maybe your answer is different. So select according to your traveling with another person. Will you be traveling with UK with another person? Spouse, dependent? No. Where you will be staying in the UK? Do you know where you will be staying in the UK? Just now, if we provide yes, we need to enter the whole details. So we'll put no, but on the student will be staying in the accommodation, university accommodation. Where do you plan to stay in the UK? So, okay. So this is where you will mention, I will be staying in the university accommodation. Okay, accommodation, university accommodation. That's fine. So that's sorted. You can mention more details according to your application. Save and continue. Your UK travel history. Have you been to the UK in past 10 years? No. Have you been with the UK visa in the past 10 years? Like you have been issued UK visa? No. Save and continue. Travel to Australia, Canada, New Zealand, USA, Switzerland, Europe, and economic area. How many times you have traveled to these places? Okay, none. 0. So if you have traveled different times, you can mention that as well. World travel history. Have you been to any other countries in the past 10 years? No. Outside India, never traveled. So select no over here. Double check the answer. Okay. Yeah. Your planned information. Okay. When date of you plan to arrive in the UK? So that's just 1st of September 2024. Just before the classes start. Classes will start on 16th. Immigration history. For either the UK or any other country, you have been refused a visa, refused permission, deported, removed, required to leave, excluded, or banned from entry? No. None of them. If you've been refused, make sure you put refused over there, okay? No, for this applicant. Breach of UK immigration law. Entered UK illegally, breach any condition, given false information, breach UK immigration law in any other way. So the answer is no. Save and continue. Conviction and other penalties. Any criminal conviction, penalty, arrest, caution? No, I have never had any of these. That's the best, for this applicant. War crime, any war crime? You must read all this. No, I have read all the information of war crime guidance. Terrorist activities. You must read all the information. Have you ever been involved in encouraged terrorists? No. Have you ever been involved in supporting them? Have you ever been involved, glorified terrorists? No. Save and continue. Extremist organization and views. Have you ever been a member of? No. Have you ever been a member of express extremist? No. Person of a good character. Have you, as a part of the applicant, otherwise taken paid activity, UK government security? No. Have you ever engaged in any other act? No. If there is any information of character? No. Save and continue. Your employment history. Okay, have you worked for armed forces, intelligence services, media organization? I have not worked for anything. Save and continue. Sponsored license number. That's where you will mention the sponsored license number from your cast letter. It must be on your cast letter. So just now we are applying for the Edinburgh University. So we'll put the Edinburgh University cast number. Okay, place of study. Independent school, higher education provider. I'll just double check it's all correct. Yes. Okay, place of study. What type of sponsor you will be studying with. So you have independent school, higher education provider with a track record of compliance. Okay. Overseas higher education provider, public, private. So for this one, we can select public, but it's a public funded college. But because on the cast letter it's mentioned it's a higher education provider with track of compliance, so you can search this as well, but I think it's not opening. It's taking me to the same page again and again. Okay, yeah, but on the cast letter it's mentioned that clearly it's a higher education provider with track record of compliance, like they do the compliance and it's all mentioned on that. So the best answer for this one will be this, but in your case it might be public funded college, or it can be a private provider, like for example if you're coming for IELTS, study IELTS or do English course or something. So we'll select higher education provider with track record of compliance. Click save and continue. Primary site of study, where you will be studying. So obviously university address, whatever is mentioned on your cast letter. UCAS details. Did you apply for your course through UCAS? Yes, if you do that, you need to provide. That's basically UCAS is like, when you graduate, you do the UCAS. Student of certain incentives or subjects, like for example, mass restriction, delivery, they need ATAS certificate. So do you need obtain permission for ATS? No. Save and continue. Future official financial sponsor. Will you be receiving money from an official financial sponsor for continuing studies? No. Course information. Name of your sponsor institute, course name. So we'll put the name university, is Edinburgh University. Course name is, I'll put the full university. Okay, course name is MSc Finance. Okay, qualification you will get. So you will have a drop down menu in Scotland, because this is in Scotland, it's SCQF 9 and 10. You can check from your cast letter what's its equivalent. If you're applying for the England, it will be RQF, but for Scotland, it's SQF. So what is this mean? This means that if you are working for the student union and all that, you get paid for it. So just now this student is not working. No. Course date, start date of the course 14th September 2024. Okay. The course end date is 19th November 2025. So it's a 1-year course. That's when the degree will end. So save and continue. Accommodation payment. Have you or your parents, legal guardian already paid? Yes. This applicant already paid all the fees. They paid through the on university portal, because the student will be staying in the university accommodation. So we'll select yes. How much have been paid? 4,500. Okay, how can you provide? Okay, we can provide through CAS as well when we'll get that confirmation, but just now we have the receipt. We have the email, so we'll select the receipt over here. Save and continue. Course fees. What are your course fees for your first year? So you need to provide your 1-year course. So 18,500 is the course. Have you or parents, legal guardian already paid the course fees? Yes, in this case, they have already paid the full fees, 18,500. Because when you pay full fees, they will give you discount. Okay, so how can you provide as a receipt as well? We can also provide as a CAS as well. Student loan. Do the student have any loan on this application regarding the applied for the student loan? So for this one, in the form of there is no student loan. So we'll save and continue. Okay, maintenance fund. You must show that you have enough money to cover. Are all maintenance fund required for the application in the bank account or name on it? Yes. Okay, additional information about your application. If you have any additional information, you just put that in this section. For example, anything which you wanted to discuss. Save and continue. So now we are on the check your answers page. So just check your answers, all of them, if they are correct. It's a long application, so we won't go through again, but just now we will just we will just double check that we have answered everything. Okay, English language, dependent, family, history. If you're doing the application correctly, you don't need to worry in the end as well. Continue. Documents. Okay, now it's asking mandatory documents. The passport is mandatory. Receipt confirming of your course fees, that's mandatory. Receipt confirming about your accommodation, that's mandatory as well. Okay, uploading copies of your document You can do that on commercial for free of charge. Taking your documents to the commercial partner, they will charge fees for it. Okay, that's you will do it online on VAF website. Tuberculosis test result. So you need to provide them as well if you're traveling over 6 months. Okay, if the application is successful, there will be a condition on your visa or leave to remain. Okay, you can be detained, you can be prosecuted, you will not allowed to work. Okay, without permission you are not allowed to do all any of these things. So I confirm that and accept these conditions. Save and continue. Declaration. So by sending this application, you confirm that acknowledge blah 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 blah. I'm aged over 18. Okay, I accept the above all the conditions. I'm submitting. Okay, so save and continue. Check your answers. Consent. Declaration. Continue. So in this case, you submitting your application yourself. Okay. Immigration health surcharge, IHS fees. You must pay your IHS fees before you complete. So this is the last step. So that's where you will go. You select. You will be locked when you go to IHS website. Okay. Even if you do not pay IHS fees straight away, you can't make any changes. So you can make your changes on this page. This is the last step. After paying IHS fees, you cannot change. Go IHS fees. So if I click that, please pay towards your healthcare in the UK. Okay, the cost of healthcare is £1,035 per year for anyone age above. So if you're coming for 5 years, multiply by 5 years. Okay, your details, it says that some of the details I haven't mentioned correctly. Add where you planning to stay. Are you planning to stay within UK? Okay, title. Miss, enter the course date. Okay, I don't know why it's coming up with these. We did mention that 14th September 2024. Okay, and 19 November 2025. Okay, 25. Yeah. Are you applying to continue in the same course? You should remain undertake. No. Okay, the student was not given any last. So save and continue. Summary. Okay. Are you applying to remain with the partner already in the UK? No. You don't have any dependent. The details are correct. Okay, the green one. So the details are correct and there is no dependent. Declaration. If I provide false blah blah blah, stop in the entering in the UK, leave remain. Okay, you need to provide everything correct. Okay, total how much you have to pay. So 172,664 Indian rupees. Pay now. So now you're on the immigration health surcharge payment page. You can pay by Google Pay, you can pay by credit card, you can use China, you can use PayPal, WeChat, Alipay. You can use any of these services. If we select PayPal, it will tell us how much we are paying in dollars, $2,066. In this case, we will pay by debit card. Okay. So now let's discuss the most important requirement like the documents. You must have an unconditional offer of a place on a course with the licensed student sponsor. We will discuss this in a second. What do we mean by licensed student sponsor? To prove this, your education provider, like your universities, your college will issue you CAS letter, CAS. Once they have offered you a place on the course. You need a CAS before you can apply for your visa. So the application which we just filled, in that you have seen that we didn't provide the CAS, but you need to provide CAS before you apply. Okay. Now let's see what do we mean by student sponsor license. On Google, again, we will go back on gov.uk website. On gov.uk, search for register of licensed sponsor students. Click search and you will get this list. Register of licensed sponsor students. Click on this. You can download this file as well. We will do view online. When you will click on view online, so this you can see that you have 1000 showing up on this, and we are looking for, so how it works. So sponsor name, town, additional location if they have too many branches, sponsor type. So remember we were discussing that sponsor type, independent school or higher school or higher education private provider. Status. So over here now you see that probationary sponsor. This one. Okay. So if the status says that they don't have student sponsor track record, if you have someone who is not on this list, that means they don't have sponsor license. But you can download the file as well, Excel, and then you can search that. So just now we are looking for Edinburgh. So I'll write Edinburgh. So this is the city coming up. So that's school in Edinburgh. Clifton Hall School. So let's search for Edinburgh College. So see that Edinburgh College. It's in Edinburgh. Publicly funded college. They have the student. So if you applying for Edinburgh College or Edinburgh Napier University, you are doing the right thing and they have the sponsor license. If the name is not appearing on this list, do not trust them. until you are 100% sure. Okay, this is how you check your sponsor license for education provider. Education provider, universities license do get cancelled. For example, they cheating or anything, they not doing the things right, their license can also get cancelled and or revoked. So do not come to that university, because if the license is revoked, you need to leave the country within 60 days. Now let's discuss CAS. What do we mean by? So once they have offered you a place on the course, your education provider will send you a reference number, which we just discussed, CAS. You must enter this reference on your visa application, which I just showed you. If you do not enter that number, the visa application won't proceed further. You must apply for your visa within 6 months of receiving your CAS. So don't do that like you have received in CAS in January and it was meant to be for January intake and you applying for September intake. It don't work that way. Within 6 months of your CAS, you need to apply for your visa. Okay. Money to support yourself, financial requirements. You will need to show you have enough money to support yourself unless you have been in the UK with a valid visa for at least 12 months on the date of your application. So for example, you were on graduate visa and you're switching back to student visa. Then you do not need to show the funds, okay? How much money you need depend on where you will be studying. You will need either £1,334 per month for up to 9 months for courses in London. 1,023 per month for up to 9 months for courses outside London. So it's very simple. When you're providing your statement, many people ask this question, what should be my statement? How much bank balance do I have to show? So it's simple. Multiply that 1023 by 9 and whatever figure comes according to your country rate, that's what you need to show in your bank. If you are boarding at a residential independent school, you'll need to pay boarding fees instead. The amount you need to pay will be on your CAS letter if you're coming to the boarding school. Documents you'll need to apply. When you apply for your student visa, you must provide a current passport, a confirmation of CAS number. You may also need to provide proof you have enough money, like your bank statement, all that, or your parents' bank statement. If you're providing parents' bank statement, there should be a letter from your parents that that money is for you. So this money which we just discussed is on top of your fees, by the way. A valid ATS if you need that. Okay. Proof of your parental or other legal consent if you are under 18. Proof of your relationship or to your parents. So for example, if your parents supporting you, you need to provide the IDs, documents which should have the same name. In many cases, I have seen that the parents' name were different. In that case, you need to provide the birth certificate as well. Your TB test result. Consent for your application from your financial sponsor. Like I said, your father, your mother who is doing, or your grandfather. If you have received sponsorship for your course, fees and living cost in the last 12 months. Okay. Now let me show you the documents which Home Office will use. Home Office will use to approve your visa or decline your visa. This is the updated document. It's 103 pages. It was published on 4th of April 2024. The visa officer don't decide their own that whether they have to accept your student visa or no. They use this particular document. I'll put this link in the description as well. It's published by the Home Office. So you can download this and study this. In this, you can see the contents. So there are like representative requesting more information, translation documents. So anytime whenever they refuse your visa, they mention the number from this document that they have refused it on the basis of this documents. Whatever this document says, for example, 3.1 because of 2.1 of the clearance guidance, we have refused your visa. That's how they say. Okay, validity for entry clearance, permission to stay application. So we'll go down. This is for the switching part, switching into student. So if you on graduate visa or any other visa and you switching to student visa, this is the guidance for it. Student overstayers, so this is the guidance for it. Eligibility for entry clearance, permission to stay. Now what we will do, we will pick up the most important part. Okay, let's do the interview section first, because many applicants are not clear about the interview guidance. So this is the interviews guidance from the Home Office. Okay, this page tells caseworker How to arrange an interview for student or child student who are age 16 or 17. The caseworker must ensure that use the genuine student rule, GSR, for 16 and 17 year old applicant is proportionate and targeted to instances where there is evidence of risk. Like for example, they're coming on their own and there is a evidence of risk. Okay. Now, interview may be arranged and conducted in variety of ways, which will be affected by the location and availability of the applicant. A telephone interview where caseworker must contact the applicant by phone and ask them if they are able to answer questions about their application. If the applicant confirms that they are happy to continue, then the interview will be conducted. Contacting the applicant by email, telephone to arrange an interview at designated time and location. Where an applicant failed to undertake an interview without a reasonable explanation as to why they are unable to do so, the caseworker must consider whether to refuse the application on the ground for refusal related to failure to attend the interview. Okay. Officials sensitive start of section. This information in this section is removed for restricted. Okay, they have removed that. Failure to attend. If you fail to attend, if the interviewer confirms that the applicant failed to attend the interview with no given reason or an unacceptable given reason, that I'm not available, I'm on holidays, blah blah blah, then the caseworker must refuse the application. After completion of an interview, so for example, you are sick, you got a medical note that you are in hospital, then it's a genuine case. Okay, so you can provide that as well. After completion of the interview, applicant is genuine student. How do they decide? So we will do the out of country application first. If at the consideration stage the caseworker is satisfied that the applicant appears credible at interview and the other requirements of the student route have been met, then the caseworker must grant the application confirming on caseworking system that an interview has been conducted. If at the consideration stage the caseworker is not satisfied that the applicant is genuine, then the caseworker must refuse the application confirming on caseworker system that an interview has been conducted. Okay, they have to do that on the system. After completion of interview, applicant is not a genuine student. For in-country applications, I'll leave the in-country applications because we usually get most out of the country application. Refusal on the basis are subjected and detailed refusal letter must support any decision. The refusal letter must accurately reflect the transcript or transcripts of the interview or interviews, as this documentation will be important in the case of any administrative review. Okay, so you can go against that. Abuse. If at any time of the applicant admitted or interview or otherwise they are provided fraudulent information as part of the application progress, must refuse the application. Okay, in this paragraph they have mentioned the immigration rules, which we will discuss in a minute. I'll just open them so I can show you that in a minute. Okay, confirmation of caste number, which we just discussed. I won't go in detail of caste number, but as I said, I'll put this document so you can read this document. Okay, check the information on the caste, that they are correct and all that. This is what Home Office guy need to check. Expired caste. Okay, this is what normally very common. If the caste checking system shows that caste is expired, the caseworker may still use the caste to consider an application by marking it as used, providing that the caste has not expired on or before the date of application. So for example, you have applied on 6th of June, your caste was expired on 10th of June. But when the immigration officer reviewing your application is in August, so that time he still need to consider your case, okay? Which is very common for the administrative review. Usually goes in administrative review and student normally wins. Meet the other requirement of Appendix Student ST of the immigration rules. I'll leave that open so I can show you afterwards. Marking associated caste or obsolete. Obsolete, like this is also very common thing. Okay, let's go. Licensed student sponsors. This is the guidance for the student sponsors, like whether they are genuine, like the universities are genuine or not. Student sponsors subject to UKVI sanction under investigations. That's when their license is revoked and all that. This is the guidance for this. Okay. For example, we'll pick one. Student has submitted an entry clearance application. The confirmation of the caste will be invalid on the day of the sponsor license is revoked. So, for example, your license is revoked on 15th September and the sponsor license revoked on 15th, and you have been issued caste on that same day. Okay. The caseworker must refuse the application on the basis that it does not meet the requirement to be supported by a valid caste. Okay, so acceptable level of study. This is the framework which they have discussed. I have created a separate video on the framework, that what qualification is equivalent to what. So student sponsors, probationary sponsors, type of sponsors. Let's go down. Student study abroad programs. Okay, about IELTS. Yeah, so we will highlight this part. We will discuss this part because many students are confused about this. The equivalency. An applicant who is studying abroad at an overseas higher education institution and wishes to come to the UK as a student to undertake a short-term study abroad program is permitted to do this. The qualification the applicant is studying will need to be validated as the same level as a UK degree or above. ECCTIS, there's a separate video on my channel about this, how to get this. The caseworker must check this has been confirmed on the confirmation on the caste number. Students who are studying on a study abroad program within UK cannot apply to extend their permission within UK. A study abroad program is a non-extendable period within the UK. Okay. Student union, we won't discuss that. Student part-time courses, that's fine. ACCA courses, so there's a separate guidance for the ACCA courses. You can take a look. Student flight schools, student financial requirement. So if we read this, the applicant must show that they have held the required level of funds for consecutive 28 days, unless they are relying on a student loan, an award of a government international sponsorship agency, or where they are receiving some proportion of the funds or other financial support, sponsorship from their student sponsor, bursary example. The 28 days period must end no more than 31 days before the application of date. So this was another question which was somebody recently asked on my video, that I'm getting a student loan. How can I I don't know which date I will get the student loan. How can I provide the proof? So you do not need, because it says unless they are relying on student loan. Okay. Course fees, 1 academic year of the course, the entire course. So this is about that. Living cost, whether they are boarding school or whether they are in London, outside London, accommodation deposit, boarding school. So let's discuss the accommodation deposit over here. If the applicant has paid a deposit to the student sponsor for accommodation, they are providing the deposit up to maximum of 1334 can be offset against the required funds they need to demonstrate. The amount paid will be taken as that stated on the caste. Payment can only be offset if the accommodation is provided by the sponsor. Payment made to third party will not be considered when calculating the amount needed to meet the financial requirement. So if you are staying in Airbnb, Booking.com or any other third party, your payment won't be considered, because there was a case in which the student paid to their family some X amount for staying for 1 year. and they said that they have already met the requirement. No, unless you pay for the sponsor. Only sponsors. If you pay to the university, then it will be considered, otherwise it won't be considered. Okay, this is what the Home Office guidance says. Child student, we will leave that. This is all about child student. Location of study, and study includes part of month. So outside London, 1023 per calendar month. This is what you need. Okay, this is where they have mentioned what do we mean by London, like, what is inside London, what is outside London. So the 32 London borough listed below are classed as within the Greater London area. So if you living in this, then it's 1334. Okay, length of study, that includes part of a month. Okay, we will include that. Evidence of funds. Okay, I'll open this guidance so I can show you afterwards. Partially paid course and accommodation fees. Student English language requirement. There is a further guidance on how caseworker must assess evidence that an application in English will meet. So this is the complete, this is what they will see. That, but if it says the caseworker must check the applicant CAS to determine what level of English is required. Okay, and what assessment was carried out, or what evidence has been used to demonstrate the application meet the requirement. So for example, if you have the equivalency, then it will come over here. Okay, student academic progression, exemptions, demonstrating academic progressions, applying for integrated courses, demonstrating course completions. I'll go quick because 103 pages, I don't want to stuck over here. Sponsor duties, that's your university duties. Changing course or finishing their course early, that's for child student. Changing A-level subjects, student changing course without permission of the Home Office. Pre-sessional courses, student postgraduate doctors and dentists, that's a requirement for them. Work placement, so student doctorate extension scheme, student time limit for study. Okay, I'll go quick. Degree level of, so I'll put this document in the description so you can use that. Okay, date calculator. So this is something I wanted to discuss. Date calculator, for example, timeanddate.com, may help in calculating how long the applicant has studied. If the caseworker uses a date calculator, they must ensure that they select include end date in the calculation. Option to obtain accurate details of the length of the course. The period calculated will be expressed in days, but will also include details in years, months, and days, which can be used for refusal purpose. Okay, this is the website they use, timeanddate.com, to calculate your studies, period, and all that. Documents for assessing acceptance, that's for your CAS. Assessment based on references. Okay, assessment not based on qualification or references. Evidence of English language ability. All sponsor must assess their prospective student English language ability. The level of English required and the documents to be submitted depend on the level of course the applicant is studying, the type of institution at which applicant is studying. Okay, the caseworker must carry out verification check. Okay, verification check. I'm just trying to open that. Okay, so when we click on verification check, this is how they do the verification check. Let me zoom in and I'll discuss this part in detail. This page tells caseworker about risk profile and how they should verify supporting document for student. Verification check. The caseworker must be confident that the document an applicant has submitted with their application are genuine. In certain circumstances, the caseworker will have to verify these documents. The caseworker may need to verify documentation if they have reasonable doubt about the authenticity of any document. There is an instruction based on risk profiles. So this instruction is provided usually by the senior officials, but they don't check every document. They only check few documents. So usually the bank statement, if they have doubt, they will do that. The process of verifying document will vary in each case, but may involve checking the authenticity of the documents with employers, banks, universities, professional bodies, the relevant embassy or high commission, or other government department in UK and other overseas. So when you providing a fake employment letter and you assuming this, that they won't contact your employer, that's not the case. Someone did that recently, provided a Philips electronics company employment letter, which was fake, that they have worked 5 years in electrical department over there, blah, blah, blah. So they did the verification and they got the refusal. So make sure you don't do that. The purpose of these checks is to make sure that the documents provided is genuine and accurately reflect statement made in the application. There is a guidance available on how to refer documents to the Northeast Yorkshire and Humber Regional Verification Team. So there is an intelligence team, they do that. Verification check will be returned with one of the following results. Documents have been confirmed to be genuine. Documents have been confirmed to be false. The check returns an inconclusive results. For example, they have asked the employer and employer didn't reply. But in that case, they cannot refuse. I'll show you how it says. If the document have been confirmed as genuine, the caseworker must continue with the application. If the false, the caseworker must refer the guidance on general ground of refusal. Now, this is the third part. If the verification check return as inconclusive, the caseworker must discount the document as evidence. For example, they have a request for the employer for the verification check. They never replied, or they said that our system has failed. We don't have enough evidence left, or we cannot do that, or the previous record has been burned, blah, blah, blah. In that case, the applicant cannot rely on this evidence. If alternate evidence has also been provided that meets the requirement, this can be used instead. If no further evidence is being provided, the caseworker should either refuse the application or refer the applicant for an interview. Okay? So, if I repeat this line, the caseworker must discount the document as evidence. Okay? Okay, let's go further. Age requirement for child welfare. We will leave that part. We are on 75 page. Differential evidence requirement. Applicant who apply under a differential arrangement with submit evidence. We will leave this part. Dual and multiply nationality, academic, ATAS, obviously. Grant or refuse. So whenever they refuse your application, they will put the comment from this. Grant or refuse entry clearance. The endorsement, the caseworker must ensure student S, CAT D student endorsement, child student grant entry clearance, student entry refusal. Okay, so this is where the refusal paragraph is. Okay, suitability requirement is in this paragraph, ST2 and sub paragraph. So when they will refuse your application, they will say this appendix student ST2. Due to this, we have refused your application. Entry requirement, date of application of requirement, genuine student requirement, appendix ST 5.1. So this is what the guidance is. So whenever you get refusal, you can check from this document what was the reason they have refused. Okay. Student grant of permission, appendix student period of grant. So this is okay. We'll leave that part. Okay, let's go further. Work conditions. Okay, work conditions. There's loads of confusion about this. So I'll say you can discuss according to you can read this according to your requirement. Part-time during term up to maximum 20 hours a week. Full-time during vacation include the period before the course start. So, for example, you have arrived 1 month before in the UK and you are asking that can I work? Yes, you can work as per the guidance. Full time during vacation you can work, including the period before the course starts. Okay, on a work placement as part time of the course, full time as a postgraduate doctor, dentist, recognized, etc., etc. Okay, professional sports person, that's for the guidance for that. Child, voluntary, dependents, this is the guidance for the student dependents. Okay, so if you're bringing your family with you, this is the guidance for it. Very common reason for refusal, care requirement for dependent child in ST.35. So you should read this. If I open this and if I try to show you this, this is the requirement. And if I open this caseworker guidance again, so how to calculate line time must be held. So this is another, like, full requirement for it. Types of funds, financial institutions, verification check. Okay, so immigration rule, appendix, student route. So I'm just giving you the idea. Okay, so where you will find all these things. Validity requirement for a student, suitability requirement for a student, ST 2.1. So whenever they refuse your application, this is what ST 2.1 I was talking about. Eligibility requirement for student, entry requirement for student, date of application requirement for student. So these are the grounds that they will use to refuse your application. So if they have refused your application, saying that ST 6.1 was not fulfilled, that means you haven't achieved the points. So 10 points for your financial requirement, 10 points for your English language, and 10 points for your CAS, 50 points for your CAS. If you score 70, you will get the visa. Okay, so course requirement for student. This is also one of the most, I'll discuss this part. A full-time course below degree level involving a minimum of 15 hours per week, classroom-based daytime, Monday to Friday, that leads to an approved qualification. So if your classes are on, you need, like, your full-time education needs to meet this 15 hours per week, classroom-based. Okay, so this is a whole list. I won't go in detail, but I'll put that in the description. So now we are on page 96. Requirement for dependent children. This is the list for that. That's where it says how much funds you need. Okay, for your children. If you have dependents, how much funds you need. Grant permission, dependent partner. So this is all about dependents. Dependent of student refusal paragraph. So this is what they will use to refuse your application. Okay, this was the last part. So what I'll do, I'll put this link in the description. I don't want to go drag it further, this video, but I'll put this link in the description, and on this page you have all the links which I'm showing you, all these links, so you can read them according to your scenario. So for example, ground for refusal or cancellation of entry, permission to enter, permission to stay. Okay, so this is what you will use. So hope you will get benefit from this video, and don't, you don't need to go to lawyer every time or everyone. You can do your own research. Everything is available on gov.uk website. And if you have any question, you can send me an email at dr_khan consultant.com. You can also follow us on WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay, have a good day, and I'll put all these links in the description as well of the video.